This is the pre-show for the debate of Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. Now live from Studio 77 in the heart of New York City with the names you trust. Now with John Catsimatidis, Ed Cox, Anthony Weiner, Governor David Patterson, Bill O'Reilly, and Dominic Carter. Here's Rita Cosby.
Well, we are here. This is John Catsimatidis, and I'd like to welcome all our listeners. Maybe 1 million people out there listening, and all the people in Studio 77 in our studio here. And on my right, the people on the right side of the debate, I have Dominic Carter and Rita Cosby. On my left, we have Congressman Anthony Weiner and Governor David Patterson. And I'm the guy in the middle. And we believe in listening to everybody. We believe in fair and square debate. And the big item that we talked about at 5 o'clock, we believe in Americans voting, American citizens voting in our elections. And we had quite a discussion, Rita, at 5 o'clock, where there may not be only American citizens voting, and I'm not going to go to Anthony Weiner first. I don't want to be yelled at. It's not Saturday. It's not Saturday at 4 o'clock. But there's a lot of concerns that one vote for one American. And I'm going to start on the right-hand side. And Dominic, what you think this is going to be fair and square? I mean, they're starting to mail out ballots. I don't know what the story is on a state-by-state basis, who is mailing, who has early voting. I mean, my personal belief was if you're going to have early voting, then you should have, if Tuesday is the election, let people vote for 7 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That way there's no excuse, I couldn't go on a Sunday or I couldn't go on a Saturday. And that way you hire a bunch of people watching all the election booths and for 7 days. And it's easy. But there's no way you could watch for 45 days or 60 days. And Dominic, you give us your gut feeling. What the heck is going on?
I agree. First of all, thank you, Mr. Catsimatidis, for putting this together. Thank you, Mrs. Catsimatidis, for putting this together. It's wonderful to be here with the audience, with you folks, and with Mr. Weiner over there. I say hello to you, Mr. Weiner.
Hello, Dominic.
We separated the two of you.
That's trouble.
I'm under the firm belief. I believe in the system. I don't know about an October surprise. I don't know what's going to happen. But I think it's going to be, knock on wood, a fair election, and there's nothing that's going to stop Trump from returning to the White House, period. That's the way I see it.
Rita Cosby?
Well, I think about what we talked about on Katz and Cosby earlier today. We had on Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna from Florida. And she brought up a really superb point with us where she said on the SAVE Act, and that is to make sure that only U.S. citizens vote in federal elections. You would think that's a no-brainer. Well, what happened, John, as we know, guess what? 198 Democrats voted against that. So it makes you wonder what priorities are. And it also, at a time now, John, where things are so segmented, we've seen such changes with RFK Jr. and others. RFK Jr. had to fight to get on so many ballots because the Democratic Party didn't want him on all these ballots. And now he's fighting to get off of them because he's supporting President Trump. So you have to look at some of the lawfare with Trump. You have to look at some of the questions that are happening on the ballots. I do hope, I hope for America's sake, I hope for the world's sake, it is a free and fair election. I can't think of the stakes being higher, everybody, as we're heading into what I think will be probably the most important debate of our lifetime that's literally minutes away.
I'm going to go to this side, and I'm going to ask my Democratic side, I'm going to ask Governor Patterson, Congressman Weiner, why would 198 Democrats, which is almost it's a big number, would vote against the congressional want to have only Americans voting?
Yeah, only
Americans voting,
citizens
which is in our Constitution. Why? And you guys can answer it separately. Why would 198 Democrats vote against only Americans voting?
Well, first of all, John, I want to thank you and Rita and Dominic and the governor for having me. This is going to be an exciting night. Look, a couple of things that I think our listeners should understand. It's already in the Constitution. You have to be a citizen to vote. No one is suggesting to change that. But I think what a lot of people misunderstand is that we don't have one election system in this country. We have 50. And if you count American Samoa, D.C., and everything else, we have some things in the 10th Amendment are reserved to the states. And I think Democrats and Republicans alike should agree on one concept. When we wake up on the first Tuesday of November and we see a higher number of people, a higher percentage of American citizens voting and participating in their system, that's a good thing. So states are figuring out different ways to do them. Sometimes they have mail-in voting. Sometimes they have military people vote overseas. Sometimes they have in-person. Sometimes states like Washington, I think, or Oregon have all mail-in voting. In my view, and I don't know why Republicans oppose this, in my view, the more people that vote, the better. It is already a violation of the law, and it's not been documented, it's being broken, that you have to be an American citizen to vote. So why did that vote go that way? Because the Republicans are attaching it to a continuing resolution to keep our government open. And Democrats are saying, come on, let's not play politics with this. And we all know that this new problem that's been thought up is not, there hasn't been, in the last election in 2020, there were over 60 cases brought by Donald Trump contesting the results of the election. Not a single one of them from Democrat or Republican judges did they find any problems. We have fair elections in this country. Donald Trump lost the last one. He's going to lose this one too.
But is that a fair assessment? I don't. I'm not a detail person, so I understand most of those things that were thrown out of court on Donald Trump on the unfair elections, and I don't know if Dominic or Rita, you know more about it than I do. Was it because it was on technicalities in the court?
A number of them were on technicalities. And by the way, the First Save Act was not tied to a continuing resolution. This next new vote it stood alone, and it failed by 198 Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are a lot of people who believe that the federal government should be in the job of running local school board elections. I don't think that's a great idea. I think the way we've done it for generations in this country, letting the 50 states make up their own mind for themselves, let the state of New York under Governor Patterson make the laws. If you don't like them, vote out your elected officials that do it. But as far as, I can refer all of you to a website called Lost Not Stolen. It was 50 Republican lawyers who went through every single case and showed that they were all bogus. And that's why we have the system that we have. There's legal ways that you can challenge elections, and no one the last time contested that there were large numbers or even any undocumented people who weren't allowed to voting. This sounds to me like the talk of someone who's fearful that their candidate's going to lose.
Governor Patterson.
Well, that's really part of the problem is that some of the candidates in different races have offered the idea that the election won't be fair. It obviously creates all kinds of derision among the voting population. It makes people feel their vote doesn't count. And I think really what we would ask people who are running for office is not to take these extreme positions about the voting process, because that's part of what is causing our country to be more and more divided.
Well, tonight we have President Trump versus Vice President Harris, and I don't know where we're going. I'll go back to my right here. Dominic, Rita, any idea what kind of force or what kind of attack is Kamala Harris, the vice president, going to do?
She's going to try, Mr. Catsimatidis, anything and everything, but none of it is going to work. You're going to see in the next 90 minutes the beginning of the end of the Harris candidacy. If you look at polling, it's already trending Trump's way. I've said all along that she would build momentum into the Democratic National Convention, even though nobody knows what she really stands for. And I think that's universal. She's going to have to answer. Here's why Trump wins no matter what tonight, as long as he doesn't lose his cool. She's got to answer for all her flip-flops. She's got to explain her policies. There are no teleprompters on that stage with her tonight. She's in trouble. Trump can answer every question like the back of his hand, at the snap of a finger, rolling out of bed, Mr. Catsimatidis, no matter what the topic is. Kamala Harris can't. She's in deep, deep trouble starting in just a couple of minutes.
Well, let me go all the way to the left and ask Congressman Weiner. I mean, what do you think? You think she is sharp enough, fast enough to answer those questions?
Well, I will agree with Dominic in that I do think this whole debate tonight is going to be about Kamala Harris. We have seen Donald Trump for a long time. His floor and his ceiling are the same thing. His number has not moved in months. People have decided about him. They have experience with him. They don't know her as well. So if we wake up tomorrow morning and people said the debate was kind of a nothing burger, nothing really happened, that's probably a good day for her. Because frankly, I think undecided people are not going to break for someone that they've been watching and discarding for now 3 elections in a row. So she has to not make mistakes. I think Dominic's right. She's got to be careful not to make mistakes. I don't think she's going to be on the attack. You know, I went back and I watched her debate with Mike Pence. She's very, very cautious. I think she's a very cautious politician. I think constantly going through her head is don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up. And that might be enough. And let's remember something, you know, if for people who think that debates don't matter, it's a little bit like the Super Bowl, except everyone in the country already knows who they're rooting for. And we're talking almost everyone. There are probably more people in Studio 77 than there are undecided voters left in Pennsylvania right now. So we might watch it, and Dominic may see one thing, and we'll talk about it on Saturday. I may see something else. But in terms of the people that matter, it's really not people that are listening to our show. Our show, you know, that we do, we have strong people that have strong beliefs that are very well informed. The people that are watching tonight that are going to matter, believe it or not, are very low information voters. They may take it just based on what they see on the split screen. Oh, I like the way that woman looks. She seems to be have it together. I'm going to give her a shot. Or they might see Donald Trump rolling his eyes on a split screen and say, I don't like that much. But remember something. Unlike the Super Bowl, most of us don't have a real dog in the fight. We're just watching it to enjoy the game. Most people that are watching tonight know who they're going to vote for, so it's a relatively tiny number of people. And I think if Kamala Harris stays out of trouble, I think that she wins the election.
Not going to happen. Empty suit.
Yeah,
Empty
it is
suit.
definitely not going to happen. Actually, and
We
I'll
left
give
the
a-
boxing gloves outside.
Yeah, that's true. Well, here's an interesting point, too, guys. And typically, Anthony, I agree with you that people have made a decision. However, I just saw an interesting poll about 2 or 3 minutes ago, which said that 30% of the people polled actually will make their decision on the election based on what they see in the debate tonight, which means this debate is a little bit of an anomaly. Also, there have been polls out that say 70 to 80% don't know what Kamala Harris stands for. They've seen her flipping and flopping. It's like Sybil. Her head is spinning. She has changed so many times. I am all for people evolving. I'm all for people changing, but you don't evolve on your 20 or 30 core issues.
Like abortion.
Well, like she stayed on that. She has stayed. I'll give her. No, hang on one second.
And has
Anthony, I'll do a Kamala
or
Harris.
fracking? How
I'll
about
do
fracking?
a Kamala Harris to you. I'm speaking. Okay,
That's
how's
good.
that?
That's
I'm
good.
speaking. All
That's
right.
good. That's
yeah,
good.
because
That's
that's what
good.
she's going to be doing
That's good.
all night long.
That's good.
All
That's
right.
good.
That is what's going to happen, and I'm telling you, she is going to throw the kitchen sink. I agree with Dominic. She has to try to get him off his game. Trump has got to stay on the issues, but if he stays on the issues, he will kill her and he will win this debate and he will win the presidency.
Governor Patterson.
I think in a situation like this, the stage is set. Everybody says that Kamala Harris is going to be terrible, that Trump is going to rip her apart, and she doesn't know anything, and she's stupid, and these other things that they've said about her. And when you do that, when 30% of the people who are going to make that decision, they came to a debate where they thought that one of the candidates is going to be destroyed, the mark that she has to set to become viable in the campaign is less so. And once that happens, the reality is that she is a person who was Attorney General of California. She was a tough Attorney General. Even in this particular race, she comes into the race, and in 1 month, she actually aligns the Democratic Party. But we've been trying to align the Democratic Party since 1940. And the reality is that there's a real wave supporting her, and it's all around the country. And I really am going to rest my case I'll talk to you on November 4th when you will all apologize to me for telling you the 3 words you need to learn are President Kamala Harris.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we're going to do it. John, I think we need to do a dollar bet because he's going to lose.
Oh, I already won the dollar bet.
November 5th, the 5th.
I owe you at least $1.
He owes me $1. He bet me Kamala Harris wasn't going to show up for the debate.
I didn't
John.
think so, but I guess I was wrong.
I guess so.
We'll find out in a few minutes.
Now, is President Trump going to be able to be calm, or is she going to convince him to explode?
Of course he's going to be calm. He's not going to play her game. This man is the former president of the United States of America. He knows how to do this, and he knows how to do it well. He knows how to be disciplined for the next 90 minutes. What is she going to do when she's asked a question about foreign policy? Can anybody in this room answer that? When she's given 2 minutes with no interruption to answer a question about foreign policy, about Ukraine, about right, never been to Europe, and that's why she wanted the mics open for these cute little got you lines. Joe Biden, I was that little girl on the bus. Excuse me, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. Trump is prepared for that. Tulsi Gabbard has made sure he's prepared for that. He's not going to fall for those gimmicks. She's going to fall completely. With all due respect to the vice presidency of the United States, you are about to watch a vice president fall completely on her face. That's what's about to happen.
Well, right now, I understand Bill O'Reilly is on the line. Well, Bill O'Reilly, tell us your feeling. We got 14 minutes before the debate. Tell us where the heck we are.
Well, I think Trump is going to be composed, and I don't believe he's going to flail or call names or anything like that. So he's been told, and I think he buys into the fact that he's got to be more statesman-like.
So he has to be a statesman. We all know that. He has to stay calm. I think that Kamala will look for an opportunity where he loses it a little bit. Anthony Weiner, Governor.
Well, the very fact that you're talking about the need for Donald Trump to stay calm is that we've all been watching him for years, and recently he has not sounded great. Talked a lot about Hannibal Lecter and electricity leading to the electric cars and windmills and stuff like that. Look, I think that Donald Trump did a very good job in the last debate of making it about just being quiet and letting Joe Biden dig himself a hole. And for people who say, well, it's the prosecutor versus the convict, well, no, she's not going to get a chance to prosecute in this format. It's just two people talking back and forth. But again, the standard is relatively low for her. The undecideds are going to break for her. We know that because people know Donald Trump. They decided at 45, 46%. For consistently now, that's where they are. Kennedy's gone up and down. Kamala and Biden have gone up and down, but he hasn't. So if Kamala Harris is able to basically have a nothing burger of a debate, as I said, she is going to do fine. She's not going to go out of her way to knock anyone out. All people need to do is watch Donald Trump, and they'll be reminded of why they rejected him twice in a row now.
Governor Patterson.
So former President Trump spoke at an economic conference last week, and no matter who you were, you had to admit that he really knew the subject matter. He really knows how the economy works. And with all of that information that he shared, and a lot of it was, very difficult to understand information, but he was able to put it in a way that people appreciated it. I think that his occasional, where he goes off on his own and just says things are kind of entertaining in a way. And in that respect, if he can use a combination of both of his abilities there, he will do fine in the debate.
Bill O'Reilly, how many people are there estimating that are going to be watching it worldwide today? Any idea?
Well, if you can't calibrate it because of the social media component, I think about 50 million will be live in the United States. And then it'll go right out on social media to everybody. Well, most of the world will know. But the problem is that most folks are not going to watch the 90 minutes. They'll watch some of it. They'll hear clips on YouTube and things like that. And the spin inevitably will be that Kamala Harris did a great job. You remember the moments after the Biden debacle, the Democrats were already saying Joe Biden kicked President Trump's butt. Remember that? And it only was after it sunk in on social media, which is the dominant force now of people getting information, that Biden got into trouble. So you're not going to get an accurate portrayal from the corporate media in America about what happens to him. No way. WABC will give you that because we have voices on all sides, but not in the corporate media.
That's very true. We have voices on every side, and look, we want to be fair and square and let our million listeners make a decision. We're going to take a break for a few moments, and we'll be right back. 50 million people, is that what Bill O'Reilly said? 50 million people are going to be watching this, and the truth is, I thought it might be more.
It is going to be more.
It is.
It's definitely going to be. That was the last
broadcast
number, right? That was the last number, Biden versus Trump. And Bill O'Reilly was correct. You Democrats said that Biden won. Biden even had a rally with his wife. It's all on videotape. You can't deny it. As soon as the debate was over, in which she claimed, the First Lady Jill Biden, that he won. And everybody in America knew that the president had fell flat on his face.
Yeah, but
See,
she
but
gave
I
him
don't-
ice cream.
I
She
don't-
gave him ice cream.
You know what I don't understand? And we got 4 minutes to go. What I don't understand, that CNN is very corporate. MSNBC is very corporate. The New York Times is very corporate. 5 minutes after the debate was over and President Biden got up, the knives were already on his back.
Because he was terrible.
How can
was
that
terrible
be
in that
happening?
debate.
Yeah, but CNN and MSNBC and the New York Times ready with the knife out like Brutus.
No, he was terrible. The whole country saw it. Why are you guys obsessed with Biden? He's not going to be on the stage tonight. Tough.
No, I just think I am.
You guys have
think
Biden derangement syndrome.
Fair is fair. That's all I want to say.
Well, and also, John, let's not forget the debate was in June. It was their choice, the Democrats, to do it early because
God.
maybe they wanted to see how bad he'd be,
Thank
so they
God.
could do
You bet.
the switcheroo, which
And
is
that
what
was
we're
the
going to see
best
tonight.
thing that they
You
could
bet.
ever have thought of because he was.
So was it a plan to get rid of Biden, you think? Was it, did CNN already know that
CNN
it was
doesn't
going to
know.
happen? Did MSNBC already know it was going to happen?
Well, I can tell you
Did
this,
they have
John.
the daggers? Did they have the knives out already?
Well,
the New York Times?
John, I can tell you this. The combination of the early debate and the late convention, we got very lucky, the Democrats. But at this point, it is Kamala Harris is going to be sworn in on January 20th, not Joe Biden, so get used to it.
Well,
Mr. Katzimatidis,
We got 4 minutes to go.
It's
3
not
minutes.
going to be Kamala Harris sworn into office. These guys know. Maybe they're putting on a good face. They know she's an empty suit. With all due respect,
You can't be respectful and say empty suit. That's a
yes, I
disrespectful
can.
thing to
Yes,
say.
I can. I can say.
That's misogynist.
I can
It's a
say
nice suit.
exactly. I can say exactly what I want to say out of my mouth. Empty suit. Empty suit. Empty suit. And I'm about to be proven.
Where's the boxing gloves?
For the next 90 minutes. For the next 90 minutes, Mr. Katzimatidis, you're going to see that I'm right and somebody
You
else
ain't
is
showing
wrong.
up after this show.
3
You ain't
minutes.
showing up.
3 minutes. Governor,
What's
do
your
we have any
prediction,
common
David?
sense?
Well, there's plenty of common sense, but the problem I think really is that this is a chance for the American people to see these two candidates, to see what they represent, and to see how they present themselves. As I said before, the onus is more on Harris because the public really doesn't know who she is. So she's the one that I think has the most pressure.
It's going to be an interesting hour and a half. Bill O'Reilly, any last comments? Well,
He hung up when Dominic started talking.
Mr. Katzimatidis, I'm willing to bet that it will be a disaster for her if there's some type of word salad. She is not going to be able to make it straight through for 90 minutes.
I got to bet, Dominic, you're not even going to show up in 90 minutes because you'll be so embarrassed about your
Maximum
predictions.
Nope. I tell you what,
Maximum
we'll
bets is $1.
a dollar bet that this is the beginning of the end of the Kamala Harris campaign. Okay. A dollar bet.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out what happens.
High finance going on.
And you know, Mr. Catsimatidis, on behalf of you and your wife, look at all the folks. We're just 1 minute away from the actual debate. Trump wins on that alone because he got her to the debate. She tried to run, bob, weed, hide, do anything she could do. No teleprompter, no this, no that. She's at the debate.
Wait, she had no interviews other than the one she had.
Right, with CNN, sir. And that
She
was
had
it.
one interview with CNN, and she had no other interviews.
I
mean,
wanted
that's-
to do it with Dominic. She refused to do it with Dominic.
That's right. No interviews in 79 days.
No, she had one.
Wait, what's it? Can't hear you guys on that side.
What about your guy? He did all these
can't-
interviews where he didn't take any questions.
He does.
He was talking about bacon.
He does an interview 3 times a day.
What is this thing with Hannibal Lecter? Tell me, Margot. Just straighten it out for me.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We got 30 seconds to go.
Yes, and it's going to begin. And you know, folks have said whether or not the vice president will have an earpiece. You're going to see she's not going to have an earpiece. Mr. Catsimatidis, again, thank you for doing this. I'm about to toss to Rita
Okay.
Cosby.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, Rita Cosby. You take it in the studio.